If you're listening to a lot of alternative pop and rock music, chances are you've probably stumbled into a guy called Mac DeMarco. The 27-year-old singer-songwriter and multi-instrumentalist made his first mark as a solo artist with the mini LP called Rock and Roll Nightclub in 2012. And since that time, he has continuously created a streak of great albums. But what makes up the sound of Mac DeMarco's music? And why is it so great? Let's take a closer look. In order to understand Mac's music, we have to go back to his childhood. Mac was surrounded by music ever since he was very little. Both his mother and father played the guitar, his grandmother was an opera singer, and his grandfather, Hank DeMarco, played the saxophone with 1.5 arms.
When you touch it with your stump, it should create a contact. That's really good.
For a brief time, his mom made him take piano and singing lessons, but at that time he didn't really like it and would rather be at home to play Nintendo, so it really didn't last that long. But eventually, after becoming a teenager, his interest for music suddenly sparked. He started listening to AC/DC, played in a bunch of bands, and finally, when he was about 18 or 19, he started recording his own music. What you're listening to here is a project called Make Out Videotape. It was a band/solo project that Mac worked on from 2009 to 2012. It had a noisy garage rock sound to it and a very prominent lo-fi quality as well. It definitely takes inspiration from other garage rock and punk bands like the Outdoor Miners and the Wipers. Now, after creating music for Make Out Videotape for some years, he started experimenting with new genres as a solo artist. His first mini LP, Rock and Roll Nightclub, was a mix of a lot of different things. You had American soul, glam rock, garage rock, and on the first half of the album you hear Mac impersonating Elvis Presley. So yeah, shortly said, it's a very versatile and open-minded record, especially if you compare it to some of his newer albums that were much more defined and focused. Now, one of the things that really makes Mac stand out is his fine balance between creating familiarity and versatility in his songs. His voice, his dreamy guitar, and his down-to-earth lyricism is present throughout all of his songs. But he still feels free to explore a variety of different genres nonetheless. Chamber of Reflection, Salad Days, and This Old Dog are some great examples of this. Chamber of Reflection is a psychedelic pop song. The beat is very slow, the melody is almost entirely driven by synths, and it sends you into this very soothing soundscape. Salad Days is the second song that I want to mention, and the difference you'll hear immediately between this song and the previous one is the melody and the mood. The melody sounds quirky and playful, it's more energetic, it has a faster tempo, and utilizes the electric guitar throughout the whole song. And because of this, it relates more to the indie rock genre.
As I'm getting older, chip upon my shoulder,
the last song, This Old Dog, is again quite different from the previous two. It has a simplified arrangement where the melody is mainly led by an acoustic guitar. All the other instruments follow except for the electric guitar, which seeps in here and there during the chorus, creating an alternative melody on top of the acoustic guitar. But because of its dominant acoustic sound, it borrows a lot more from folk and folk rock.
Sometimes my love may be put on hold.
Now, as you can see, Mac is a very versatile musician. He creates everything from psychedelic pop to indie rock and folk. But what about his lyrics? The seamless flow of seriousness and goofiness in Mac's lyrics says a lot about him as an artist, and a great example of this is Ode to Viceroy. a love song about a cigarette brand.
So, honey, I'll smoke you till I'm dying.
Shortly Explained is a very light-hearted song, as you can tell, while Moonlight on the River, on the other hand, deals with the hardships he experienced with his father, who left him while he was a kid.
I'd say, see you later, if I thought I'd see you later.
These are two songs, two lyrics that are a complete contrast if compared to each other. And it's this polarity of seriousness and goofiness that makes Mac DeMarco a lot more interesting and relatable. We all carry with us different versions of ourselves, and it's often when we first show several sides of our personality that we start to build trust with others. That's why we get sucked into the world of Mac DeMarco so easily. His lyrics reflects everything that he feels and thinks, no matter whether it's goofy or serious. Now, although there's always changes in Mac's choice of genres and his lyricism, there are also things that continuously appear over and over in his music. His drums, for example, they often sound very flat. His muted, low-frequency bass guitars is another one.
Fucking dirty tone on that bass.
And last but not least, his voice, that some people compare with the voices of John Lennon or Damon Albarn.
Never meant to make her cry, but now I'm seeing tears in her eyes.
All these things come together to form a very focused sound image, a pattern that you can trace throughout every single one of his albums. Another element of sound that Mac is repeatedly using throughout his albums is his guitar playing style, and more specifically a combination of regular chords, jazz chords,
minor 7, 7, minor 7,
discordant open strings, and upstrokes. Just a little something for you guitar nerds out there. Now, the repetition of sounds, rhythms, and playing style is definitely making Mac's music easier to take in. But Mac is also using repetition in his lyricism, which makes his songs even more memorable.
Alone again, alone again, alone again, alone.
If you look closer, you can see that most of the words only contain 1 or 2 syllables.
This old dog ain't about to forget.
The repeating of phrases and the use of simple words tie the lyrics and the sounds tightly together, and because of this, the music becomes a whole lot easier to take in, and it would fit perfectly into an atmospheric environment like, I don't know, a beach party, for example. What I'm trying to say is that this is music that's easy to take in. It's not something that you need to spend a whole lot of time thinking about in order to understand. Now, we've already looked at Mac's lyrics and sounds, but there's something even more fundamental that makes his music so good. And it comes down to this thing right here.
Get yourself a tape machine, get your fucking head out of that Ableton shit, you moron.
Tape. All of Mac's music is recorded using tape and analog equipment, which is quite an old-fashioned tool for recording music, but it can still sound good if you have the proper equipment.
Is there something that you think that analog picks up that digital can't?
It's the stuff that the tape puts on the recording by accident, like the warble or like the hiss, you know, throws something out of time a little bit or like out of tune. That's why I like to use it for the crappy parts about it. Yeah.
As you can hear, Mac is a lot more interested in capturing the small accidents and the noises that appear during the recording process. And because of this, his music ends up sounding a bit edgy, a bit lo-fi. It doesn't have that same quality as you would get through a digital recording. But there's nothing wrong about that at all. A lot of people have developed a taste for low quality sound, images, and video over the past years. There's a reason why Polaroid photos, flimmery video clips, and lo-fi music has become a trend, and it's because it reminds us, and I guess I'm speaking on behalf of the millennial generation here, it reminds us of a brief time that we experienced as children, a time where we watched Lion King on VHS and recorded our own voices to a cassette with this thing. My point is that because of this lo-fi sound, we might feel a sense of nostalgia while listening to Mac's music. And again, this is a huge factor that really helps us to understand why we like his music so much. Now, if we try to look for Mac's musical inspirations, there's plenty to find. He's a guy with a very various and eclectic taste in music. Everything from disco and folk to garage rock and blues has influenced him over the years. But in interviews, he has mentioned that Shuggie Otis, Jonathan Richman, and Weezer are some of his all-time favorite artists. And after digging a little bit deeper, it looks like Jonathan Richman was his main musical role model.
You know, like Jonathan Richman, for example. He's always going to be this like rock god, legend, Roadrunner, he's in the Modern Lovers, you know. But as time has progressed, he's just tried to reel as much back as he can and just keep it. Because the whole thing with him is, it's like, the important thing is he's on the stage, there's the crowd, there's like an immediate connection.
I never tried to be Mr. Cool Guy on stage. I never found that very attractive. That's why I think Jonathan Richman is great, because he doesn't give a crap what's going on up there. He's just having a good time.
Been out west to California, but I missed that land where I was born.
It seems like that is one of the things that Mac really took to his heart and started implementing himself and became a master at doing, just being on stage and having fun. He doesn't take music too seriously, but he takes it seriously enough. And because of that, he is able to be himself 100% on stage. While other artists have a mastery of acting like someone else on stage, Mac is a master at being congruent to who he is. He's an incredibly honest and charismatic guy who communicates better with his audience than most other artists today. And I think that is the reason why I made this video, and I think that is one of the reasons why a lot of hardcore fans return to his music. Hey guys, I'm Lee from Lee Likes Music. I just wanted to say thank you so much for watching this video, and also if you would like to watch more similar videos like this one, then I highly suggest you click the first link in the description below, because in that way I'll be able to send you my newest videos once I upload them directly to you on Messenger. So if that sounds good, if that sounds great, if that sounds okay, then make sure to click that link in the description, alright? Hope you all have an amazing 2018. Happy New Year, and yeah, talk to you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.